Hi, my name is Feehan. I would like to read to you from my book, In the Shadow of Crows. It's 8 connected and interwoven short stories. Each story is named for a line in the crow rhyme. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a message, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. And I'd like to read to you from the 8th story, which is called In the Shadow of Crows, subtitled Hearts Crossing, 1924. The child had been traveling for 2 days. On the 2nd day, she slept mostly, her head resting on the cold, damp window. In between her dozing, she watched the fields and farmhouses of the provinces pass by, her aunt's hand almost always on her back. She had been sick for so long that she was used to this weak and distant state that held her separate from the rest. She was happy for the touch of her mother's sister and slept easier with the weight of a warm hand on her back. Often, in her half-sleep, she dreamt of a tower and heard from there her mother's worried cries about this trip. Something always slipped from the steeple in her dream, a crow or a feather. Sometimes dust motes rode the temple light to the ground, and something would usually land on the seat beside her. A white horse came once, and then an angel who couldn't fit anything of himself into their coach seating, his boots banging on the legs of their foldable table. "Don't be angry at your mum," he'd said before he left the space, moving this way and that with a great racket. She woke fully then and gave sideways glances to her surroundings on the train. Her tan bag and Teddy, an auntie helping a large woman with several children squeeze past their seats in the narrow aisle. The child blinked to stay awake until her aunt settled into the seat beside her again. "What a waste of time it is to be mad at me, Peanut," her mother had said at the station in Boston when the girl turned quickly away from their last kiss. But she pushed the memory aside. She didn't want to think of her mother right now. "Amherst Station," called ticket man as he made his way through the middle aisle of their car. They were approaching the Nova Scotia border when a second wind stirred the spirits of the 2 travelers. All the gray hours of their trip seemed to brighten with the announcement of their provincial destination. "Look," said her aunt, "aren't the horses pretty over there?" The child raised her hand to the glass and sighed at the mare and colt. "Oh, they must be cold." "No," her aunt leaned over her shoulder to see the animals better. "They have the barn to step into if they need it." Above them, the crows lolled about beneath the clouds. Her aunt said the birds were our best connection to heaven, and their number gave us signs. "See, 2 for joy." Aunt pointed to a branch as they passed it, with 2 serious crows perched close to the thick trunk. But now, between their laps, they opened a copy of a child's book of verse and began The Tiger. The girl read aloud to her aunt and kept her place on the words with her finger, sometimes pressing the page so hard that the tip of it went white. And when the stars threw down their spears, a rain began against the train window. She stood and watched the drops on the ponds and inlets and on the flicking branches of the stubby spruce that grew too close to the track. They flew past the signs between the hamlets and sometimes saw a road. They passed a woman running from her door to her line, grabbing sheets and pins and yelling at someone they could not see. Dogs chased dogs, children walked with elders, horses pulled carts, and pastures and woods rushed by. Soon the pane was awash and slippery, and the outside speeding by was blurrier than before. A tall man approached and held a pale hand in front of her aunt. "May I?" he asked as he pointed to the seat facing them. The older woman blushed a little but waved her hand to the seat and said that of course they didn't mind. The child watched him tuck a small bag onto the shelf above them. What would a man need to pack that could fit into such a small bag, she wondered. "Hello there," he said to the child when he settled in his seat. She stared at him but did not respond, still thinking about the bag. He then smiled at the aunt and added, "She's a quiet little thing." "Yes," the woman nodded. She's never any trouble, that one. The aunt smiled proudly at her until the child turned and began looking out the window again. Her warm breath pushed clouds upon the pane, and she felt a little dizzy, but the cool glass was nice against her forehead. "You sound like you might be from away," her aunt queried shyly. "The States, actually." He looked out the window, unanswering. The woman followed his gaze then and asked nothing more. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.